Very good day to all the distinguished guests and all the participants of the International Conference on Economics, Business, Tourism and Social Sciences, ICEBTS 2021. My name is Dayana Mastura Baharudin, and today I'll be presenting a topic on the drivers of the integrated business model towards firm financial performance, MCCG 2017's 30% Women Board of Directors. Okay. With me, I have my co-author, author number 2, Associate Professor Dr. Marimutu from University Technology Petronas, and the third author, Dr. Suhaili Sahini from University Malaya, Kuala Lumpur. Myself, I'm with University Technology Petronas and University Science Malaysia. So I shall proceed with my topic. I will go through this slide based on this preview, which I will start with introduction. Next, I will go with problem statement, literature review, methodology, data analysis and findings, conclusion, mitigation and way forward. Okay. Here I will show you, I will introduce to you what is the MCCG and the business model. MCCG stands for the Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance, which was introduced in Malaysia in year 2000. Okay, so this MCCG is a set of rules for corporate governance for corporate Malaysia, in which is supposed to govern the non-financial companies listed on Bursa Malaysia, the Malaysian Stock Exchange. So basically in MCCG 2000, when it was launched in year 2000, there was no mention of the need to have board gender diversity as one of its best practices. And that continued onwards 7 years later in MCCG 2007. So Malaysia was quite behind in introducing gender diversity. But 5 years down the road in MCCG 2012, okay, the board, they introduced that the board should have a policy to have some sort of boardroom diversity. And they gave the responsibility to seek for diversity through the nominating committee. Okay, so that the women candidates are being able to be recruited via the nominating committee. Okay, so but in MCG 2012, it wasn't really really established, where companies needed to find a woman board of directors on board. It was also not compulsory, it was best practice, and it was not really emphasized until 5 years later down the road in MCCG 2017. So basically Malaysia updated their Code of Corporate Governance every 5 years after 2007. So as you can see from here, MCCG 2007, 5 years later, we have MCCG 2012. Then 5 years later, we have MCCG 2017. So basically, in MCCG 2017, 5 years, which is the Code of Corporate Governance that we are using now in Malaysia. Now is year 2021. We are still using this MCCG 2017. So here in 2017, they gave a figure of measurement. So they mentioned the policy in MCCG 2017 was that for large companies, the board must have at least 30% women directors. So at least there's some sort of a figure that was introduced, 30% women directors, and this is in line with the global policy of the 30% Women's Club. Globally, that's introduced in the UK and US. Okay, they're trying to put more women on board. So, okay, this has got to do with my research, in which I will show you later how this women board of directors actually have an impact on my research. Also, I want to introduce to you something very significant to my research, which is on the business model. Okay, so here in 2010, globally, the business model canvas was introduced. Okay, and it was introduced by Osterwalder and Pickner in 2010. Okay, so their business model was many items, consist of about 9 items here. I'm sorry if this is not clear, but we have these 9 items here, which comprise of the business model canvas introduced by Osterwalder Pickner in 2010. So 3 years down the road, the Global International Integrated Reporting Council, IIRC, in 2013 launched a business model framework for their reporting guidelines. Okay, so let me just introduce to you. Financial reporting has always been the annual report. Okay, I think most of you will be familiar with the annual report. So this annual report has been used by the public listed companies around the world as mandated by the stock exchanges of each country. So at global level, the IRC, International Integrated Reporting Council, which was launched in 2010, they decided that the annual report is not enough. So they introduced that the reporting should be more focused towards stakeholders, not just shareholders. So this integrated reporting, which was launched by the IIRC, is something of a new way of reporting. So they decided that having a business model would be a better form of reporting. So they adapted the business model from Osterwalder and Pickner in 2010 into their integrated reporting framework in 2013. So the Integrated Reporting Council, they launched this business model, and they also launched a reporting framework in 2013. So they, from the 9 items that Osterwalder and Pickner introduced in 2010, they only took 4. So in the IRC business model, they only have input, business activities, output, and outcomes. So you see most of the companies, when they publish the annual report, okay, they try to move away from it. So they publish the integrated report and they put in the business model. Okay, they're supposed to put in the business model, which consists of only 4 items: input, business activities, output, and outcomes, in this order. Okay, next I'll go to next slide. Okay, so also the Integrated Reporting Council, they also introduced this value creation process, because they believe that to have a better form of reporting, you need to have, or you need to show, you need to demonstrate value creation that your company has created. Okay, so this form of reporting is not it's not what you call so boring like the historical form of reporting as per the annual report. So this actually tells more to the shareholders. Also, this integrated reporting is also designed for the stakeholders as well. As you know, the annual report is only designed for the shareholders. That means for the owners of the company. But for the integrated reporting, is also designed for the stakeholders, like anyone who has interest in the company. Okay, the government, the Indian revenue, anyone, employees. I mean, the reporting is also meant for them. So the way they report is totally different. And it's because it's designed for the stakeholders. It's serving the stakeholders. So here we have this value creation model that the integrated reporting actually introduced in their policy. So they're saying that if you want to publish the integrated report, you have to publish this model, and your company has to look for these items in their own companies and then publish it. So here it's saying that integrated report has evolved from the regulatory annual report and the voluntary sustainability report. Okay, sustainability report, is only talking about the triple bottom line. So this integrated reporting is a combination of the triple bottom line and the annual report and more than that. So it's trying to show and demonstrate the value creation process. It's difficult. It's something new. Most companies find it difficult to follow. Okay, so this is my problem statement. So basically in Malaysia, I'm looking at the Malaysian context because the IRC launched their integrated reporting framework in 2013. Okay, So I'm just looking at the Malaysian companies, Malaysian public listed companies on Bursa Malaysia in 2014, because when they launched in 2013, the companies in Malaysia doesn't publish the integrated report immediately. It takes time. Okay, so I'm looking at the data in 2014, and only 50 out of 912 at that time published the integrated report. Okay, and that's only about 5.48%. So we have not reached the global standard. Okay, this in comparison to South Africa, because South Africa is the pioneer in integrated reporting, so they already published in 2010. Even before this integrated reporting framework launched their framework in 2013, 2010, South African public listed companies listed on Johannesburg Stock Exchange already publish integrated report. So they are way ahead because they have a different agenda. It's about the apartheid. Okay, they want to break away from the apartheid and to bring in investors, which is a very good move. And now they are the leader, global leader in integrated reporting. So now in the Malaysian context, we are not there yet compared to South Africa or compared even globally to the UK or the US. And saying here, looking at the business model itself, only 3% publish. So from the 5.48% of the Malaysian PLCs that publish the integrated report per se, only 3% publish the business model. So saying that because it's not mandated to publish an integrated report, so companies have what they've done is they've done like some kind of cherry picking, pick and choose what to publish inside the integrated report. So it's not like all the items that should be published inside the integrated report, they publish. It depends if they know how to do it, if they want to do it, then they will do it. So, okay, we look at it in a further context later on. Okay, here is saying that articulated business models allow companies to react faster to changes in business. Okay, most organizations, they think that if they publish the business model, they are actually trying to share their trade secret. This is what the belief of Malaysian companies are. Okay, they don't want to share their business model in that reason, or maybe they don't have a business model. Okay, they just simply sell and buy as they go along. So we don't know what's the problem with the Malaysian companies, but if you don't publish, then you don't publish the business model, or if you don't publish the integrated report per se, you're not at the global standards. And when you don't publish, you cannot monitor. When you cannot monitor, you cannot control. So it goes on like that. So it's like that it's saying that these companies are not actually trying to improve themselves. Okay, there's nothing to lose actually in publishing the business model. It's not like you're giving the context of your business partners and so forth. But the business model, people can copy, but when you look at the people per se in the organization, they are the ones that actually run the organization. So you cannot copy 100% actually, okay, because you don't have the people that actually run the business. Okay, here I'm saying that what companies do not report, they won't be able to measure. It's either that they cannot report because they don't have it, or if they don't want to report for some kind of reason, scared of sharing the trade secrets, then they won't be able to measure. Because every year, when you prepare your next annual report for the next year, you will look at your previous annual report and see what have you done better, what have you not achieved, and so forth. So, and also at the same time, you're trying to attract more shareholders, more investors, more collaborators to work with your company. So if you don't actually show more, people don't know what business you are doing. Okay, so it's better like if you're a public listed companies, you list your companies on the stock exchange is to get funding. Okay, so if you don't expose more things about your companies, then how you can get more funding in the future? Okay, so here MCCG 2012 transition to MCCG 2017 requires 30%. So we are slow. Okay, globally, they have been fighting to have more women on board. Okay, the European countries, but Malaysia, no, we have not mandated anywhere. Only in 2017, which is just like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they require 30%. And even this is not, what do you call it, mandated in a sense where if you don't put 30% women on board, nothing's going to happen to your company. Okay, it's just like best practice. So in terms of practice implementation, Malaysia is not there yet. Okay, so the research gap, I'm looking to enhance the integrated business model with technology. Nowadays, technology is very important. As you can see from the COVID-19 situation, if you don't have technology, you cannot communicate, you cannot do your work. So nothing, can be done. So that's why this business model is lacking the technology aspect. So I want to introduce that in my model later. I'll show you. And the 30% women board of directors should further enhance the disclosure of the integrated business model, because I believe that women have the empathy, the drive to actually disclose more. Okay, and we hope that having more women on board can actually enhance the disclosure, because the thing is, like, if you don't disclose, your shareholders won't know what you're doing. At the same time, this integrated report is not only targeted for the shareholders, also targeted for the stakeholders. So when you look at the stakeholders point of view, stakeholders is a bigger group. So if you show that you are actually promoting women, then maybe your company can move to the next level or even a higher level. Now look, even the Vice President of United States of America, who's just taken their oath, Kamala Harris, is a woman, first woman to serve in office. So if she can break the glass ceiling, why can't we? So this is the thing that I know it's not just Malaysia, around the world. Like, I know men would love to work with men. It's not nothing wrong with sexism or such, but it's maybe they're comfortable to work with their peers from the same gender. Okay, so we were trying to break that glass ceiling and maybe introduce more. Not much, just 30%. Okay, from my data, I see that the top 10 companies try to move towards that 30%, and one multinational public listed company in Malaysia have moved to where they have exceed the 30%. Okay, one company, maybe to show of such good reputation, to show that, see, we have a lot of women on board. I think it's about 30 or 40% of women I counted on the board. So this is pretty good, but only one of that. And maybe it's just to enhance their corporate reputation, also trying to attract more women to come into their organization and work for them. So let's just go through this research objective and research questions. So basically, my aim for this research is to investigate the impact of the disclosure extent. Okay, because my research is looking at the disclosures on the annual report or the integrated report. Okay, to see whether they have any integrated business model published inside their integrated report or annual report. Because I believe that most companies in Malaysia, they are not there yet to publish the full-fledged integrated report. So what they've done is they have some elements of the integrated report inside the annual report. So the title of the report is annual report, but inside is integrated report, because some Malaysian companies, they're not confident yet. So when I'm doing my research, I will look at all reports. If they have annual report, maybe inside the annual report has these items of the integrated report, which they don't want to classify as integrated reporting yet, but the items are similar of what should be included in the integrated report. So that's why I'm looking at all types of reports, and then I want to see if they publish more of this integrated business model. It will result in firm performance proxied by return on assets, ROA, return on equity, ROE, and Tobin's Q. Okay, and then my next objective is to identify if the moderating role of MCCG 2017, 30% or more women board of directors. Okay, my moderator variable is the MCCG 2017 30% woman, 30% or more woman board of directors. I want to see if you have more woman board of directors, is it going to enhance is it going to enhance or moderate the relationship between the integrated business model and firm financial performance? Okay. So basically, I'm looking at the literature review, okay, of the business model came from Osterwalder and Pigner in 2004, and then it moved to, and we have this, what do you call it? So I'm just saying that the business model is something which is not new. Okay, business model. Every company has a business model. Is from like 10, 20 years ago. Business model has been there. Okay, if you want to commence your business, you must have a business model. Whether you actually tell people what your business model is, like, or you don't tell people, but you just continue on with your business model or your ways of doing your business. But actually, there's a model hidden inside that maybe you don't think it as a model, but it's actually the way you do your business is actually a business model. But for public listed companies, they cannot actually keep this a secret in a sense where everyone in the organization must know the direction of the company. So the business model for the public listed company must be very explicit and must be shared across the whole organization. Should be published in the annual report, integrated report. Okay, so that you can monitor, everyone knows, and they can actually work in line with the business model and work better. So that's the idea for large companies if they want to sustain. And nowadays, with this COVID-19 pandemic, companies might think that they need to change their business model accordingly. Okay, maybe like I just give you an example. If you are selling food, okay, you are selling food, and then your restaurant, and previously people come to your restaurant, they sit down, have a meal. But now in Malaysia, we're having a lockdown, movement control order 2.0, so that the restaurants are closed again. Closed in a sense where you cannot dine in, you can take away or order via Food Panda or Grab Food, okay, some sort of delivery. So that this is like a new business model. You have to change your business model accordingly based on the situation. But what happens if we don't have a business model at all? So that's going to be a big issue that you have to think about. So actually, this pandemic actually forces companies to think and work differently so that they can survive. Okay, companies like restaurants, if they don't open for one day, they can lose a lot of revenue. And people out there who are working, who are not affected by the pandemic, they still want to go and eat and have a meal. And for those working at home, they find it very busy to like handle cooking, taking care of their kids, and then trying to work at the same time. So they might think that I should just order from Food Panda and all that. So this is a model that restaurants should think of. Okay, so that's why I believe that my passion is that I want companies to actually have a proper business model, publish it. Okay, so they can monitor it and they can improve it from time to time. So if you actually have a business model and you work on a very basic business model, so any pandemic, any destruction happens, any disturbances happens, you can actually go back to your business model and change parts of it, not all of it, maybe just parts of it. Maybe like the restaurant business, they can actually have logistics. Okay, change their logistics. People can come and go for delivery, pack their food. So if your food was never catered to actually be packed in containers, now you have to think what kind of food goes in the container. Because I know some restaurants at the start of the pandemic in Malaysia, they start to give the sauce, very runny sauces in the small containers. And when the Food Panda delivered to the homes, actually happened to me, it spilled all over. So I lost 2 containers of sauce, and it just spilled all over my other plastic. But I complained, and they wanted to give me a compensation, but I said no, maybe this is just like a a teething issue. So I just said next time make sure that sauces have to be packed, double packed. That means you put in a container and put over a plastic and then tie it up with a rubber band. Let customers enjoy the same experience, but you have to think of ways to transfer the experience that they used to have in the restaurant, and so that they can enjoy it at the comfort of their own home. But you have to find a way to transport it. So not say like, oh, because we have a pandemic now, you cannot have the sauce. So no, customers, they want to have the same food that they had before the pandemic, but in the comfort of their own home. The government doesn't allow us to go out and have the meal in the restaurant, so the restaurant have to bring the meal into the homes. So this is what I believe, that if you have a proper business model, you can tweak it and change as you go along, improve it as you go along. Okay, so now this is my proposed conceptual framework. As you can see, I have 5 independent variables. I have the input, business activities, output, outcomes, and technology. 5 independent variables, which is part of the integrated business model that I want to introduce. I want companies to disclose more of this in the annual report. Okay, I don't know, they don't disclose. Is it because they don't have the expertise? They are ashamed of it. They're shy. Maybe they don't know what is their input. No, companies, they've been trading for many years. They're very successful, very profitable, but they don't even know what are their outputs. They don't even know which outputs are good or not. Okay, so if you start to publish slowly, maybe this year you won't know what are the items that you are actually doing. You cannot define it, but you know it's giving you money. But as years go by, you can work on it. You can develop a very good model. So if you develop this good model, it actually can sustain you for many years down the road. We are not looking for 5, 10 years. We're looking for 30 years, 100 years. Okay, those are like what companies in the West are surviving, like Walt Disney. It's not like, it's like 100 years of type of company. This is what we want to go for the Malaysian companies. Because we've seen a lot of bankruptcies in the Malaysian public listed companies. Okay, now, at 2014 we had about 912. Now actually, I think it's about 800 plus. Well, not exactly. Well, to date in 2021, after the pandemic, we lost a lot of businesses. A lot of businesses shut down. It's very sad. About 800. Okay, 800 plus. That, before like 20 years ago, Malaysian public listed companies had about 1,500 public listed companies. That was like in year 2000, in the 1990s. Yeah, Malaysia was doing really well during economic boom and all that. So we lost a lot of companies along the way, and we don't know which to blame. Maybe it's because of maybe it's the company itself. So now we are trying to help the companies to actually disclose more. You disclose more, you don't be scared of people copying. They can copy your idea, but they cannot, the idea cannot be done without the right people. So they need to get the right people as well. So that's why I'm talking about right people is the 30% woman board of directors. Okay, I'm not saying that women can do the job perfectly, but we need to have diversity, and we cannot have just 1 out of 10. Say for example, you have 10 board of directors and you just have 1 woman. So that 1 woman is going to feel left out. There's actually a research on this. This 1 woman will always be left out. Her ideas will never be considered at all. But you have 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 board of directors, 3 women out of 10 board of directors means 30%. So this 30% can actually voice out something. Okay, not about voicing out something overpowering, but just some kind of suggestion which is different, because women think in a different way. They have more empathy. They want to see the companies survive in the future. They're looking for sustainability. Okay, more on the empathy. And then we're looking to see whether this is going to result in a firm performance. I'm going to measure according to the return on equity, ROE, return on assets, ROA, and Tobin skew. Okay, and I also control the variables using the firm age, firm size, and firm leverage. Okay, this is very important because I need to control these variables, because I don't want the age, size, and the leverage of the organizations to actually distort my results. Okay, so I'll be using regression analysis, and I have a few models from Model 1 to Model 5, and I also have Model 6. Model 6 is to measure the moderating variable. Okay, and I have 6 hypotheses. Okay, the 6 hypotheses related to this study. So basically, I'm looking at the disclosure. So what I'll be doing is I'll be checking the annual report or the integrated report. As I told you before, it doesn't matter what kind of report you publish for your company, I will look at it. And maybe it's there because in Malaysia, the reporting is not so standardized yet because we are still in the developing stage. So maybe the items that should include in the integrated report is actually published in the sustainability report, or is published in the annual report, or maybe they have the sustainability items inside the annual report. So in Malaysia, we have not developed that kind of reporting yet. So I'll be looking at all types of report for the Malaysian public listed companies. So as you can see here, for hypothesis 1, I will look at the disclosure of the input. Hypothesis 2, disclosure of the business activities. Hypothesis 3, disclosure of output. Hypothesis 4, disclosure of outcomes. Hypothesis 5, disclosure of technology. This is my novelty because I want to include technology in the business model, because I believe that having the right technology will give you the right result. And also here, this hypothesis 1 to 5 is looking at the performance, looking at when you disclose all these input, business activities, output, outcomes, and technology, it will result in firm financial performance. Okay, and here for the hypothesis 6 is looking at the moderating variable, which is the 30% women board of directors. Okay, so here 30% women board of directors is very important because I want to see whether actually having women on board will enhance the firm performance, will actually enhance the performance, also will enhance the disclosure. Okay, you have women on the board because the board directors are the ones that actually drive the business. So if they're the ones that actually sit on the board, they will tell the whole organization, okay, you disclose more. Anything you can find about your input business activities, disclose more. Okay, whatever you can find out, we're going to produce a very comprehensive integrated report. For example, when you have women, although you see the woman and the man characteristics are all different. Okay, so when you see that they're all different, you can actually see how women and men work together, and they enhance each other's capabilities. Okay. Now I will look at methodology. Okay, so we will have this sample of methodology. I will have a sample of 30 Malaysian public listed companies based on market capitalization that publish annual reports or integrated reports. Okay, and the data will be gathered from 2016 to 2018. So we have I'm only looking at 3 years because I want to see the pre and post result of the MCCG 2017. Okay, Malaysia launched the Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance in 2017, which is the mid between 2016 and 2018. That means in 2016 it was pre-MCCG 2017. In 2018 it would be post MCCG 2017. Okay, although my data is just looking at pre and post 1 year or the year after, for my further research, I will look at it more in the sense where my research after this, now is year 2021, I will extend my research further for year 2019 and 2020. Although 2020 is going to be affected a lot because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but I hope to see whether having women on board actually stops from all these, not to stop, actually try to reduce the issues, reduce the problem. Because not to say that women are perfect, but women have more empathy, as prior research saying that women have more empathy in they're more patient and they persevere more in times of hardship. So hopefully they can ensure that the organization can sustain 20-30 years down the road. Okay, so here let's look at this. Okay, so I'm going to propose a study of descriptive statistics for initial analysis, and then I will look at regression analysis because I want to determine causality. I want to determine the cause of the factors that affecting this research. And also I'm looking at so overall my research is on quantitative content analysis. Okay, looking at the content analysis, the contents of the annual reports and the integrated reports, but I will look at the contents in a quantitative manner. I will start counting on the items. As per prior research, I will use their methods in doing quantitative research. Right. Okay. So for the woman board of directors, I will look at the number of board directors. I will count how many, and I will see based on the total board of directors, and I will see how many women are actually employed on the board. So if it's like 30%, then this organization is meeting the minimum requirement of 30% women board of directors. Okay, next, I'm looking at the significance of the study. So basically, I found 3 significances. The first one is I'm looking at the theoretical. Apologies. I'm looking at the first theoretical significance, which is a stakeholder theory. Because I already know that, as mentioned in prior research, that the integrated report is focused on the stakeholders. It's moving away from the annual report prepared for the shareholders only. So next, I want to look at so that's because that's why it's supporting the stakeholder theory. But now with this stakeholder theory, I'm trying to say that this stakeholder theory will support the 5 types of disclosures, which are the input, business model, output, outcome, and technology. Okay, next is the agency theory that I'm trying to propose in a new way. Okay, because agency theory is looking at the 30% 30% women board of directors. So this is something new for the agency theory, because previous agency theory is only talking about having the right board of directors that actually serves the shareholders. But now we're having the actual number, which is 30%. Next is my methodological significance, because I'm trying to use the woman board directors scoring index. So this one have not been done before in the Malaysian context. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to measure the number of women board directors on board, and use based on the integrated report. Okay, so and I already suggested of the 30%, which is not actually a mandate in Malaysia. It's actually just a best practice based on the Malaysian Code of Governance. But for my scoring index, I want to make it 30% is compulsory. Okay, next. Okay, these are my findings. I'll just I have started with the descriptive statistics based on table 1. So I just started with the mean, standard deviation, minimum and maximum. So basically, what I'm trying to say, the level of disclosures and practices. So table 1 reports the mean value of integrated business model, output disclosure, which is the highest among the 5 elements. So most companies, right, even they don't have a business model, they will publish the output more. Okay, in what sense? It's like maybe they're saying that the output is most important for the organization, yes, but they won't say that the output is coming from the business model, but the output is their company's output. So that's why you can see that most companies have output the highest disclosure of output, at 70.83. And then the second highest mean value is the outcome. Because most companies, they will like to showcase the outcome and output. So second highest is outcome, even though they don't have a proper business model as per the integrated report, or they never publish the business model. They're scared that competitors will copy their trade secret and all that, but they will show their outcome to actually impress the readers of the integrated report or the annual report. Okay, so I'm saying here overall, the top 30 Malaysian PLCs on Bursa Malaysia showcase the highest output and outcome compared to the other business model variables. Okay, so frequency. Okay, so this one is the level of disclosures, highest or lowest. Now we're looking at frequency. Okay, the thing is, like with this frequency, I would say that the frequency is not good in a sense, because even though the integrated report was launched in 2013 globally, Malaysia took their time. Okay, in 2014 they never published. They only published about 5.98%, as I mentioned before, and then from that 5.98, only 3% published the business model. So I would say that the frequency is bad. Okay, for the meantime, well, maybe it takes time for the Malaysian organizations, maybe the Asian. I would not trying to create an overall statement saying that all Asian companies are that, because you see, maybe other countries are better in compliance, okay, better practicing than Malaysia. We need to find out why Malaysian companies are slow in implementing. Okay, the thing is, like, to sustain longer, it's like you need to monitor. You need to, if you don't publish, you don't monitor. That's the problem. Okay, so here I'm looking at table 2. Okay, table 2, I'm looking at Pearson correlation analysis. So this table 2 shows there's a significant negative relationship between Tobin skew. Sorry, I'm just going to move this up here. Between Tobin skew and all the elements of the integrated business model, which may indicate that the integrated business model disclosure is not favorable towards the market participants. Okay, so basically, although I'm looking at three firm performance variables, ROE, ROA, and Tobin skew, but for this, I like to focus more on Tobin skew, looking at the market participants reaction. Okay, so there's a significant negative relationship between Tobin skew and all the elements of the integrated business model. Okay, so that the market participants don't actually know what's the focus, what's the function of publishing the integrated business model. Maybe because in such way, these companies are following by the rule. I mean, following the book, bookish in a sense, like the policy says you publish the integrated business model or the business model, so they just publish input, outcome, output. But the market participants don't understand what are you trying to explain to us, because the markets want to know if it actually brings performance to them, or is more beneficial to the market participants. But if you just publish in a way that it comes off straight from the policy, like a copy paste, it won't give meaning to the market participants. So that's why market participants have an adverse or negative relationship or negative feedback on the publication of the integrated business model. Okay, and here we have a comparison towards the correlation with the ROA and ROE. Okay, because the ROA for the internal directors, they know what they're doing, because they know, like, if they publish this integrated business model, it's going to be beneficial for the directors, managers, the internal top management. ROE are for the shareholders. Shareholders know if you publish integrated business model, I will know what is going to be my return on equity in the future. I'm going to get more, I'm going to get more benefit from becoming the shareholder of this company that actually published integrated business model. So this is a difference from ROA, ROE. They know that it's going to be beneficial for them. Okay, now I'll just skip now. All right. Next is the I've done regression analysis testing on POLS. Okay. Pool ordinary least squares on Tobin skew, fixed effect model on Tobin skew, and random effect model on Tobin skew. Okay, so these are all the testing in regression analysis, and I've mentioned here, okay, to summarize, okay, although my major research focuses on three proxies of the dependent variable of the firm performance, which are ROA, and Tobin skew, but for this conference IRP, I would like to focus on one of the proxies, which is Tobin skew, that reflects the market perspective, because I want to see like how the market actually understands, because they are the third party, they are the external party, they don't know what the organization is doing by publishing the integrated business model, what's the function, what's the benefit for them. Okay, they want to have a benefit for them as well, but they don't see that. Okay, so basically these are the results of my findings. Sorry, I have to move a bit faster. Time is running out. So and here the result is like pool ordinary least squares is rejected when compared with both FEM and REM. Okay, and then FEM will prevail. So that means my result is going to be based on FEM. So basically mitigation and way forward. So development of integrated reporting is designed to enhance. Okay, so that's why we have integrated reporting, because we want the reporting to become better for stakeholders, shareholders alike. So this study is actually restricted to only 1 year after launch of MCCG 2017, which is 2018, for this presentation. But in the future, I would like to extend this research towards year 2019 and 2020, despite the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. It's very interesting to see what's the outcome. Okay, maybe the number of companies have reduced and so forth. Okay. Right. So thank you very much, and thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope I have explained a very great deal, and I hope that if you have any queries, you can contact me directly, and I'm open to many collaborations in the future, and thank you very much.